Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Interesting reports from yesterday. It did not seem like it was great fishing, although there were some that did pretty darn good. It is a interesting time of year. You have options on the Columbia and, of course, the Willamette. And we talked with Big Dave yesterday over on the coast, who ended up having a pretty successful day. But in the end, you can't catch them if you don't get out there, and you can't go out there if you don't know what's going on. So let's take a look at fish counts real quick. Not a lot of amazement here on the Willamette. Like I mentioned yesterday, it is pretty close to the 10-year average. It's a little bit below, but it's close enough where I'll say that. Taking a look at Bonavville, one thing I'm really looking forward to here is hoping to start seeing these numbers for summer steelhead starting to ramp up. It is well behind currently, as well as last year's numbers, but we'll see how things go going forward. Shad numbers are certainly on the increase. You're going to see those explode. I know there's been plenty of people starting to target them and having some success. The numbers, though, at Bonavville for Chinook, absolutely normal. On the fall, of course, at 1292. Still have some decent options out there. You're going to have a little bit of a mix. As most of you are aware, springers magically turn into summers on June 15th. So you certainly have a little bit of a crossover in there, which is a sign of concern, as well as, hey, you might run into a summer out there as well as a springer. But in the end, good opportunities out there. That's where I'll be spending my time this week when I hit the water. Will be on the Columbia. And the conditions, as you'll see here in a second on the Columbia, are going to be very consistent, just like here on the Willamette. Tides are getting a little bit taller. For those that are trolling, you know, obviously you're going to want to play that game on the incoming tide. If you are like myself, and still dropping a hook, which has been very productive, at least overall. You know, in those areas where tide is really going to influence you, you know, it's on the anchor, on the outgo, and then trolling, of course, on the incoming. And folks in the lower river have been, there's some summer steelhead around. Lay off our Oregon fish, will you? I'm just teasing. You know who you are. Bonavville, very, very stable. Has not moved in several days, which all by itself, if you're like me and you pay attention to Bonavville closely, is very interesting that it has no variant at all, other than, of course, just a small bounce, about a foot of a bounce, started on Wednesday. It's interesting how that's working out. But send Jason an email, jason@procure.com. Have a chance to win yourself something free from Procure. We appreciate them doing that for us each week. And I know that Ryan, which was not your fault, in the previous segment, I'm like, let's go ahead and go to Payton Major. It's Sunday, dummy. It's in the B block. Let's go ahead and check in with Payton and find out what this weather's going to do. And I know I mentioned it yesterday, but anything that starts with a 9 gets a little excessive, but it looks like it's going to be pretty consistent in the 80s and then that one day.
Yeah, it's so nice. I mean, well above normal, of course. And yeah, Owen, you did give me a little scare earlier. We're good, though. Okay, here's that marine layer that took over. Actually, if you joined us a little earlier this morning, we thought it'd be sunny this time and then maybe cloudy a little later on this afternoon. But the marine layer took over. What that does is basically cool us down and give us a big kind of cloud blanket overhead. Sorry about that flashing radar there. But there's our front that's arriving into Monday with some light showers arriving just in the morning and overnight tonight. So hour by hour today, do I think we'll get to 75? Maybe not if this marine layer keeps sticking around, maybe low 70s, but still overall pleasant day. We are going to stay fully dry, a little bit windy out there in the gorge. I think gusts could get up to 30 or 40 miles per hour. This is around 6 p.m. tonight, and especially a little bit worse toward the east. Now let's talk about what's happening in eastern Oregon today as well. Maybe a couple little isolated storms this afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center has put us under pretty basically level 0 risk, but just highlighted that, hey, there may be some rumbles of thunder or just an isolated downpour later on today. So here's the arrival of the front. New data showing this thing is not strong, just some very scattered showers, probably hugging the foothills by the later morning and early afternoon. The rest of us pretty much dry with some sun breaks after lunchtime as well. So let's talk about the next 7 days now. There's our cool days. Keep in mind our average is 70, so tomorrow's that only a normal day. Then we're heating up Tuesday. Wednesday is our warmest. It's not a first alert weather day, but we have highlighted it just because it's potentially our first 90 of the year, and then we're going to be well above normal. I think we have another shot at 90 possibly next weekend. Overall, very warm into May, and again, with that average of 70, having 80s and 90s in the forecast is unusual for the end of May.
It's interesting. I will admit, I'm not too excited about 90 degrees. Hopefully yourself can get out and have some fun during this upcoming week.
Yeah, let's get out in the sun.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. Thank you, as always, Payton. We appreciate it. And again, I apologize for maybe giving her a scare that last segment. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, I've got Nick Saba here from the Dirty Derby. Last year, we had the chance to introduce you here to Nick, talking about the Dirty Derby. This year, it's bigger, stronger, and faster. That just took me back to high school. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.